Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you, and in this one we're going to talk about Wall Street bets versus the billion-dollar hedge funds. Now, we're living in a super exciting time right now because we are seeing the power of our smartphone. For the first time ever in history, the regular Joe Schmo has just as much power, if not more power, than the billion-dollar hedge funds. And the regular Joe Schmoes are fighting back and getting revenge for 2009, where we saw the financial sector completely fraud the American public to make profit, and then banks got bailed out for it, and we didn't see anybody go to jail except for one person. So that kind of led to this movement, if you will. Now, first we got to talk about Gamestop. Gamestop is a gaming retail store that was heavily hit hard during the pandemic. You know, a lot of people are buying their video games digitally, and then on top of that, the fact that not that many people are going out was really hurting this retailer. And when you're a hedge fund, what you can do is short a company, which does nothing to really benefit the US economy. But what you're doing is placing a bet that the stock price is going to go down. When the stock price goes down, you buy back, you get the shares, and then you get to sell them back at the higher price. And then you get to keep the difference. So you get to keep the profit that you make. So it's a quick way to make a buck. However, when Melvin Capital and others hedge funds shorted the company by 140%, more shares than it was even worth, this is a way that drives the price down. So in a lot of ways, hedge funds were able to manipulate the price. They short a company heavily, and the price goes down, and then they make a quick buck. And what you have to keep in mind is when these hedge funds do that, GameStop has to sell some of its assets to stay afloat, which usually means people losing their job, maybe stores are closing down, maybe they have to sell off products. So it does nothing to help the company in the long run. What some people in the Reddit community, Wall Street Bets, discovered is they noticed that, whoa, that was a bit much, Kitty. Sorry about that. All this information is public information, and the Reddit community started to look into heavily shorted companies and noticed that GameStop's short was a heavily risky bet on the company, and they did not want to see GameStop be destroyed. And so people started getting together and said, what would happen if we bought this stock? It's not so weird that the stock could go up a little bit. This is a really risky investment. So people in the Reddit community started to buy the stock, and the stock price started to go up. Now, what's really important is Melvin Capital, this billionaire company, had a decision. What they could have done is they could have sold the shares then, took the loss, and then moved on, cut their losses really early, and that would have been the short squeeze and it would have been over with. But they didn't do that. They doubled down on their shorts and kept reshorting in an effort to bring the stock price down. So their greed kind of got in the way. And then the Reddit community said, nah, we're not going to let you get away with this. We're going to not let you just keep shorting companies and taking a small profit and hurting the economy and hurting us. We're going to fight back. So more and more people kept buying the stock. The stock price kept going up. And it got to a point where Melvin Capital lost so much money that they had to have another company, Citadel, bail them out. So now they don't have any money anymore, and now these other hedge funds and other banks and companies are lending them money to keep them afloat. They would never do that for you or I. They would just say, hey, you lost money and that's it. But that's what they started to do it. And then the movement really started to take off. And a lot of people realized that if they just keep holding their GameStop stock or buying more but not selling, what it ends up doing is it creates a situation where there's not a lot of shares to buy back, and it drives the price up. So when you see GameStop's stock price skyrocketing like it is, it's not so much just from the people buying, but the fact that this company is heavily shorted, and it's because of everything going on, it's driving the price way up. So you have this community saying, that's it, no way, we are going to make this hedge fund collapse, and we are going to make a statement to all other hedge funds and everybody else that this is a new day in town. We're tired of you doing this. We don't want you doing this anymore. And if you do, we are going to hurt you. And it doesn't matter that we had Occupy Wall Street, where everybody stayed outside Wall Street. They tried to send a message, and it did absolute squat. But in just a few weeks, the community was able to bring Wall Street to its knees and hurt the billionaires where it hurts the most by taking money from them. And it's important to bring out that these hedge funds you have to be billionaires to even invest in them. This is the richest of the rich, and regular people do not have the money to be able to do this. So this is definitely a club of the richest and of the elite. So keep that in mind. So this movement started to take off, and then more and more people started looking at other companies that were heavily shorted, such as AMC, for example, Bed Bath & Beyond. And they said to themselves, what if we try to do the exact same thing? So this movement started to take off, and it's amazing because Republicans and Democrats even get along on this issue. Most people agree that in America, Wall Street has corrupted our government to the highest level, and it's very annoying because you have these big companies making a lot of money, they're paying off politicians, and this corruption has just always existed, and we've just always accepted it. Most of the people buy their stocks and trade on Robinhood. Robinhood is an app where you can buy and sell stock for free, and that really changed the game because more and more people got into investing because you didn't need to have large sums of money to start. So people are using Robinhood, and then the movement started to grow more. So this Wall Street Bets group was getting millions of people a week who were joining, who wanted to do their part to stick it to the hedge fund. Last Thursday, while people were trying to buy their stocks, Robinhood shut down trading on these stocks. They sent out an email to everybody and a message that said, hey guys, these stocks are really heavy volatile. We don't want you to lose a lot of money. So we are going to protect you by not letting you buy shares of the stock. Now, if you don't understand completely how the stock market works, a very simple thing to understand is if you take away people's ability to buy a stock and all you can do is sell a stock, it creates a situation in which the stock price goes down. On top of that, there are certain things that these hedge funds can do to manipulate the price to bring it down more. And this is what we saw with Gamestop on Thursday. It started to go down. Now, what ended up happening on Friday last week that really helped out is this movement grew even more. There were Europeans, there were Swedish people, people in Asia, all around the world that said, no, F that. We're not going to let these billionaires get away with this. We're going to fight back. What's so crazy about all of this is Robinhood, the Citadel, the company that lended the money to Melvin Capital, who's already going broke, also has a $200 million investment in Robinhood. So there's a very good chance that these clearing agencies, these are the ones that actually handle the money while you're buying trades, are shutting things down for Robinhood and other traders to try to stop the market. Now, you can say that the Redditors are manipulating the market by buying the stocks, but stopping people from buying the stocks to drive the price down is literally market manipulation. And here we see the billionaires fighting back. And I don't know how you can't argue that this is market manipulation because it is driving the price down to take the money from the little guys and give it back to the billionaires. What's really crazy cool is everybody is so excited. I mean, think about how close America got to like a civil war breaking out because of everything that was happening in the US between the election. Now people are finally getting united and fighting back. And there's so much anger out there that it's creating a really difficult situation for these companies. So when everybody else started buying the stock on Friday, it's driving the price up. Now here's the interesting thing. Melvin Capital claims that they sold all their short shares. You're seeing that a lot. A lot of these people are saying that they sold, but it doesn't make sense mathematically that they did sell. Most people are saying to hold the stock because if they have to buy the stock at a really high price, it's going to make this stock skyrocket. So what's next? We will have to see what happens. Now, I'm a little bit cynical and I feel like the billionaires are always going to win, but not until we can keep beating them at their own game. So we'll have to see what happens with GameStop, but now we have these other companies coming up. And like I said, if you're going to limit people from buying it, that to me is wrong because what these regular people are doing is not illegal or wrong. They're basically all saying that they like a stock, which falls under freedom of speech, and they are just doing the opposite of the hedge funds doing. The amount of market manipulation these Wall Street bet guys are doing is no different than a hedge fund buying a stock. It's just the exact opposite. So now you see these people are fighting back. So what can you do to do your part? I'm not going to tell people to buy stocks or anything like that here because it's always going to be a risk and I don't need anyone coming at me saying that I'm encouraging this movement. What I will say is I think it's important to tell people what's going on. Simply because with all the bad press going with Wall Street Bets by trying to discredit these people, they're missing the fact that the majority of the blame should be on the hedge fund. It's greed that got us to this point. Nothing else. Just straight up greed. I've seen so many posts and forums of people paying off their college debt, paying off their mortgage. The money that has been made has been life-changing. But I have seen so many more people, because I feel like the news and everyone says this is just about profit. So many people talking about 2009, their dad lost their job, their mom was impacted, they were impacted, they couldn't get a job after they finished school. Everybody was talking about what happened in 2009 and that they don't care if they lose everything. They want to take this hedge fund down. They want to be a part of history and say, no, you got away with it long enough. There's a new sheriff in town. This is going to change the market forever. Now the retail investor has so much power. So we're going to have to see what happens. I'm hopeful that this will lead to a better future for everybody, but I'm very skeptical. But with that said, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to inform my audience, and I'm going to make purchases on stocks that I like. And I see a few stocks that are heavily shorted that I like, and I feel like that's fair for me to do. So if you want to change the rules, you got to change the rules for you guys too. Everybody in this community is okay with the fact if we can stop companies from shorting. All it does is hurt the companies. So let's see what happens moving forward. I'm going to get going here. Sorry my cats were running around so much, but I hope you like it. They're playing on my desk right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey,